I have for the Punters at very first. We would call him a whistleblower, but no. We don't want those on the show. They end up in jail, and then the people associated with them end up with jail. Welcome back to the Punters Politics Podcast, the show for Aussie punters who know something's not right but can't quite put their finger on what. I'm Punter Konrad.
I'm Punter James, and each week we dig into the stuff that politicians hope you don't notice. Head punt Konrad.
Just punters fine?
Fair. Is politician Jim Chalmers going to support a wealth tax? That's my question to you.
Where did you see this?
Look, I've seen it on NBN News, a very reputable source I've heard.
Okay, I think I've seen the exact title you're looking at there.
Right.
Quick breakdown for you. I saw something, I think you sent this to me on Instagram, and it's Jim Chalmers' face.
Yeah.
With, should we have a death tax?
Yes.
Yes, that's the one?
Correct.
So, Punter James, what's the impression you get from that picture of Jim Chalmers and the headline?
Obviously, it looks like he's going to impose some sort of a death tax.
It looks as if the government is about to pass a death tax. Punter James, I can assure you that is never going to happen.
Right.
I would bet my left nut that this Labor government, within the next 10 years, I bet they never impose a death tax. That's how certain I am that this government will never touch a death tax.
Okay, just letting you know, I've just placed that down in the Punters Notes tab of where we keep all our records.
Follow up in 5 years.
Follow up in 5 years. Let's see where we're at. Okay.
Yes. So, this did outrage me a little bit because I see the hysteria around taxes. As anyone uses the T word, everyone loses their mind, which if people lose their mind over a headline, which this is something that I've said would never happen. It's not a policy. It's not on the table. Someone at these talks might have mentioned it.
Yeah, okay.
So someone not related to the government, part of some organisation, lots of things were mentioned that the government will never do in their wildest dreams. But the news picked this up because they want you and me to freak the F out about any changes to the tax system, which you know enough to go, the current tax system is stacked against who?
The everyday punter.
Yes. So changes can only benefit us.
Yeah, that's right.
The establishment don't want
We've
us
got
to.
nothing to lose, really.
So, Punter James, we can chalk this up to a jingle.
Beauty pageant politics, let the drama spin.
Chief Punt, here I was scrolling on a Thursday morning on my phone, 4:30 a.m., and I see so many different photos of you and lots of different fancily dressed politicians.
Yes.
Give me the backstory. I'm assuming it was on Wednesday night. Give me the backstory. How did all of this come into your world? I
did have a big night on Wednesday night.
Could you remember it the following morning?
I could, actually.
It
wasn't that exciting. But I get a call. It all begins Wednesday morning. No, midday. I get a call. I get a text from a government insider. So now that I'm a lobbyist, I've made a few connections. I get a text from my connection. It says, "Oi, if you can be here by 7 p.m.
Meaning Canberra.
Parliament House.
You're in Newcastle at the time.
I'm in Newcastle, 5 hours away. If you can get here by 7 p.m, I have a ticket for you for the Midwinter's Ball."
Okay, break that down for the everyday punter out there and myself.
If you're a political nerd, you will know that Midwinter's Ball is this ball put on by journalists where they bring together corporations, journalists, and politicians all into the same room. It's like a fun night. There's people roasting each other. Albo gives a speech. Susan Lee gives a speech. There's comedians. They're making fun of journalists and everybody. It's quite a fun, frivolous night.
I've seen the equivalent over in the US.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure... But I know that one year Barack Obama was doing his address at the same time as they were going after bin Laden. That was like the weird thing that time.
Right.
And I don't know whether it was that year or the different year, but Obama took the absolute piss out of Trump.
Yes.
Who was just there as a citizen.
Yes.
So it must have been like, 2014, 2015, something like that.
Yeah.
And from that moment, Donald Trump was like, I'm going to become the president.
Maybe.
What was the gossip, this one, that went down?
This is a very similar event. I have mere moments to decide, can I make it?
Yep.
I punch it into maps. Got to charge the EV too. So that's a bit of time.
Yeah.
So I punch it in and go, I think I'll just make it. I jump in the car, throw the suit in the car. Forget my toothbrush. I've literally got nothing. I jump in the car, boost there. I get there with
Boosted the speed limit all of the way there.
Of course. I even took the tolls. Bloody $20.
Yeah, that's not
to
like
get
you.
through Sydney. Not like me at all. But I needed that extra 20 minutes that I saved per dollar
Yeah,
for the toll because I got there at 6:40.
Right.
So then I grabbed my suit, run inside, get changed, get suited up.
You got suited up there.
I was suited up there. My hair wasn't on point. I had no time for the hair, but suit was a pass. And I get there, and it's this. You go into Parliament House, it's the foyer where all the tourists enter, and it's just full of journalists. Jim Chalmers is right there, Treasurer Jim Chalmers, Albo's right there, Patricia Carvelis from ABC, all the ABC nerds be like, oh yeah, ABC royalty. Everyone's there, and I'm just standing around like, all right, here we go. I enter this room, and this is the best recon for our lobbyist dinner.
Oh, yeah.
Because I walk in and, oh my, we need to step up our game.
The amount of, I'm assuming, ass-kissing going on would have been heavy.
Punter James, you have no idea.
No.
Ass-kissing to the level I couldn't compete with. I pride myself on being a good small talker.
Okay.
And a good schmoozer. But this was on a whole new level. People were kissing my ass. Like, everyone's just so friendly to each other there. I don't know what's real and what's not.
Like over-the-top friendly, though?
I mean, I don't know. Just, I couldn't tell the difference. It's how good they were.
Over-the-top friendly or a couple of drinks in friendly?
Well, surely not everyone is a fan of my work in Canberra.
Yeah, probably not.
Not what I heard. When I was there, great work. So guess who was at my table? You won't guess because you don't know many politicians. I was sitting at the table with Nationals Senator Bridget McKenzie.
I have heard the name.
Now, Bridget McKenzie, her and I would severely disagree on a lot of gas policy, on a lot of mining policy,
Nationals?
on a lot of things.
Okay. What you're saying? Best friends now?
We are best friends now. Look at these photos. Look at these photos. We're just chumming out.
You know what you look like? You are a selfie sloot. You've gone round and you've taken a
So
selfie.
I've got Albo.
Oh,
I've got.
There he is.
I've got Bridget McKenzie. I've got a fair few of the independent politicians.
I've set.
And if you look closely, Claire O'Neill's in there as well.
Labour
Housing Minister.
Yeah, there you go.
Quite a big wig.
Everyone working together to support you, the punter.
Guess, not my idea, by the way. Guess who turned me down for a selfie when I was sleuting around for the selfie?
Oh, Tim Wilson.
Didn't see him.
Oh, it wasn't there? Didn't
But
get an
good
invite?
guess, Jim Chalmers.
He didn't want a selfie with you?
He didn't want it. He didn't enjoy our last selfie together because I made a little Instagram reel about it. I thought it was a lovely homage. I put love hearts around me.
Yeah, this could have been a nice one.
I thought it could have been nice when he turned me down, but
he's heartbroken.
I got top dog Albo, and Albo in the selfie.
That's pretty good.
So that was pretty good. But what I discovered was, so here's the insider info, and here's my biggest takeaways from tonight was this is bad. This is not good because you realize everyone's just human. Everyone's just doing their job. We're all doing our part. But in that room, it's for charity. And corporations sponsor the table and they're raising money and all this money goes to charity, which is great. The politicians are selling out. They're literally saying, there's a list
but
of...
I'm openly selling out for tonight because the money's going to a good cause.
For charity.
Yeah.
And so Albo gave away, I think, $6,000, $7,000 or $10,000. I don't know what it went for, but private tennis at the lodge with Albo, Susan, private jet flight somewhere to a mystery location.
Wow.
Yeah, probably not the best prize to give given the Epstein scandals going around. Private jet to undisclosed location.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't know. But so they're selling out, but it's all for charity and it's all good. So this builds like cultural license.
Yep.
And gets us used to this idea of corporations, journalists, and politicians.
Oh, you reckon this is like astroturfing 4?
Like, I think there are so many legitimate explanations as to why this is okay.
Yeah.
It's just journalists and politicians connecting in a casual setting.
Yeah.
But mate, I'm seeing PK, Patricia Carvelis. She is, from my virgin eyes, she is very close with Albo and his fiance.
Right.
I just see them chatting like a house on fire.
Okay.
Right? People probably looked at me and I was chatting to a bunch of people as well. But it's this sort of coziness that you see at these events between the corporate sponsors. So I was at the table with a corporate sponsor, Bridget McKenzie, myself, another politician, Ed Husick, and a few others.
Yep.
With corporate sponsors, we're all just having a great time. Okay. There's dancing, there's music, there's 3-course meals, food, not bad.
Okay.
Not the best, not bad.
Right.
The entertainment was great. There was comedians,
Guy
stand up.
Sebastian dancing? No?
No, he didn't. He wasn't
singing,
he wasn't the
not
muso.
dancing. I hope he wasn't dancing.
But I'm sure it wouldn't be astray if he was, if
Okay.
Guy Sebastian was performing that night, right?
Mm.
So what this does is it gets us used to the idea that fundraising dinners is a normal part of how this works. And as we'll discover later on in this episode, this is how the party machine works.
Yep.
So I saw on the inside, as much as, yes, these are great people, I got to know people that I do disagree with wholeheartedly on everything.
Yep.
But the humanizing of them, the closeness you get with them, the camaraderie you get with them. Now I know journalists. Now I know these people. This is the thing that gets in the way of holding politicians to account, of holding journalists to account. And for just for not waking up and going, the fact that these tables are sold to the highest corporate bidder and that government liaison people are sitting at my table with me, chatting to a politician, having a good old time. This is a problem.
Yeah, okay.
I had a good time.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Because you have a lot of followers, I would say, that would be holding you to a different account as well, because you're meant to hold the politicians to account. You're meant to be the one standing up to lots of their silly policy that they've got coming through, right? And so I want to know, and I'm sure that you've had a lot of DMs about it, how do people feel about you essentially cozying up to these people as well? And how do you feel about it? Like, do you feel dirty? Do you feel like it was an okay thing to do?
Well, I feel completely fine with it.
Right.
Because I'm doing it. It's totally fine. This is how it works.
Oh,
No, but obviously I'm fine with it because the whole platform of what I'm doing in Punters Politics is showing punters this is how it works.
Yeah.
And how do I show that without going? Just so happens that I got a lovely 3-course meal and I've now got more political connections. But that's how the system works. But Punter James, you're astute in pointing out there was some backlash.
Oh, I would believe it. Even just running around all night getting selfies. I just go, you sicken me, Konrad.
And that is some of the comments that were sent through. Punter James, maybe this sums up. Let's read some of the comments.
Okay.
I've waited a while for my content to enter this toxic algorithm bubble.
Oh, is it like a group of people that just go ham on?
It's a certain group of people that I call purity code politics.
Purity code politics. Okay.
Yeah. So here's one comment, which I'm not even going to read out their handle because I've discovered
they're not worth it, right?
They're not even worth it. But I'll read the comment. Here we go. Responding to my selfies with all the rich, powerful people. This is not funny. Cozying up with politicians who are active in sending F-35 fighter jet parts to kill people, they bleep that out, kill people is not a joke. Wasn't making a joke about that, but okay.
Yeah, that's reading a lot into it, isn't it?
You absolutely suck, Mr. White Man.
Mr. White Man, that's not your surname.
Not my surname.
No.
I don't know where that's coming from. But this one really sums it up. There's so many more like this.
I believe it.
It's a real shame you didn't use your privilege to boycott the event and stand up for the less privileged than yourself. These politicians have been ducking and weaving on accountability over genocide, ecocide, and housing crisis and stripping funding from the NDIS.
To that specific punter, I would like to say, where's your Instagram platform? What are you doing?
Well, this is what they're doing with it.
Yeah, that's right. They're just hating comments.
It's hit this bubble of people on the internet, which obviously people jump to the comments before they know literally anything. And I made this Instagram reel that was essentially in a minute trying to point out this is how people sell out, but I'm the joke of the sellout. So in the Instagram reel, I pick up a phone call to Bridget McKenzie, who we're best buds now, going, hey, no, I'm doing nothing. Then I play a montage with a vitamin C graduation song of how much best buds I am with these people.
Right.
And I don't know if the joke was missed, too subtle, too meta. So there was some backlash for people not understanding exactly the point of this podcast is to show how these systems work. And boy, it would have been fun to boycott it and not show everyone how it works.
Yeah, that's right.
What did you do Wednesday night? Did you boycott that event, Punter James?
It wouldn't have been worse if you went, but you didn't tell anyone that you actually went, and then it came out. Punters Politics was at this fundraiser.
Just schmoozing.
Yeah, that's right.
That would have been worth comments like that.
Yes.
Me behind the scenes, what's going on?
You getting held up horizontally by 6 MPs. I think that's good enough to show that it's a little bit of a piss take. But you're showing people what it looks like to be at one of these events. Who else on socials was covering it? Yeah, no one. That's right. No one.
They're all legitimately there.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think for some pundits it's lost, but the purity code people in politics.
Yeah, catch
we
you
don't,
later.
we don't want to waste our
You're not going to
time
get...
with them.
They're the type of people to me that want you to get it right 100% of the time. And you're not going to. You're just human. Chill out.
Chill out.
Just chill out.
So I didn't just get selfies. I also got some hot tips from a few politicians on some cheap ways to look rich. First up, my best friend, Bridget McKenzie.
Bridget McKenzie, we're all looking sharp, but we really need cheap ways to look rich.
Absolutely.
Do you have any tips?
This is one for the ladies. Dress like a guy. It's much cheaper.
Like the suit, the suit.
I'm in a tux.
It looks good.
Much cheaper.
Oh.
Yeah, I can 100% vouch for it, and you're a lot more comfortable.
That's a tip I couldn't have given, so that's well done.
And then head of the Greens party, politician Larissa Waters.
Greens leader, Larissa Waters, what are some cheap ways to look rich?
Vote Liberal.
Vote Liberal. That's pretty cheap to do.
All right, Punter James, I have for the punters a very first. We would call him a whistleblower, but no. We don't want those on the show. They end up in jail, and then the people associated with them end up with jail.
Yeah.
So given the Australian context, we just have a punt on the inside
Oh, nice.
who's emailed in some interesting information about some of the stuff that you and I are always paying attention to and looking into around political fundraisers.
Oh, funnily enough, we've got the Punters Politics political fundraiser, gala dinner. I don't know what we're calling this thing.
I think we add gala in there
Gala,
to show
so
how fancy it is.
a nice fancy soiree coming up.
I like soiree. So political parties have been doing this sort of thing to raise money for quite some time. Albanese and his government has appeared to and made a big song and dance around cracking down about dirty money in politics
Yes.
and how parties get it. Well, it's come to my attention, Punter James, from a punt on the inside who we're about to talk to, that there's a hell of a lot of loopholes and the extensive strategies that these blokes go to jump through the clearly demarcated loopholes that they've made for themselves.
I have a feeling this is going to make me quite angry.
Just for our sake and everyone's sake, let's call him Punter D. Has joined the program.
Punter D, welcome.
Punter D, thanks for joining the Punters on the Punters Politics podcast.
No worries. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Now, I would like you to disclose for us as much detail as you want about how just on the inside have you been? Tell us what role you've occupied within the government.
Yep. So I worked for the federal member for Gilmore. I was her community engagement and parliamentary officer. So I was responsible for doing all of the community events, engaging and organising all of the events within the electorate. Also, anything that happened at Parliament, I was assisting with. So any meetings with ministers, I did a little bit of speech writing. I also worked as the field organiser for the Gilmore campaign. So I did all of the fundraising, I did all of the volunteer events, and I did all of the organising that was around the campaign. So anytime she was out in the electorate, whether it was part of her role or whether it was part of the election campaign, I was there, I was organising it, and I was responsible for doing all of the event organising, fundraising with ministers, that type of thing.
Okay, now we do have to do our due diligence here, Punter James. We don't just let anyone come in and fire, we'll say allegedly, things at people. So we've just got a little pop quiz for you, Punter D. We're just going to fire off some questions just to ascertain if you are who you say you are. You know, we're just going to do a bit of due diligence. To kick off, who is the member for Gilmore, Punter D?
Fiona Phillips.
He's good.
Tick.
Where was she born?
She was born right here in Nowra at Shellhaven Hospital.
Oh, I have born in Nowra. We'll take it.
And most importantly, what colour is her hair?
Oh, it's brown, but she gets it dyed every few months. So probably grey.
Oh,
He's good.
that's the real secret.
Bombshell. Allegedly. Whistleblowers. Okay. I would accept light brown because it's lighter towards the bottom there. And, these are not deep questions, but the speed at which he is answering them does fit in. And what degree does she hold?
Economics, I believe.
That's some highly specialized knowledge that only a political nerd would know.
I'm glad you said that, Punter D, because Konrad's couple of questions I could have Googled in less than a minute for a guy who spooks about citations all the time. Wow, what a thorough check
What
we've
a thorough
done.
check.
Yeah.
That wasn't straight Wikipedia rip.
Yeah.
Is it safe to categorize yourself as what would be called a Labor rusty. Sounds like you've been in the party, in the machine for quite some time, working your way through it. Is that how you would describe yourself, a Labor rusty, or not anymore?
Oh, the joke we make internally is Labor Party hack.
So is that what your category, Labor Party hack, is that you?
That's what we call ourselves, yeah, internally.
Now, you've left, you're spilling the tea, allegedly giving us details that if it happened, this is how it would have happened. Did you not have to sign an NDA or something like that?
Well, the party officials actually did come down to Gilmore, to our office, to have us sign NDAs. Not everybody in the office, just the people who were working on the campaign, me and one of my colleagues. However, they asked me to sign an NDA, and I was actually going to do it, but I said I wanted to retain a copy of the NDA. But they said, "Oh no, we don't let people keep copies. We take the copies back to head office with us." And I said, "Well, I'll have to think about it." And then they didn't let me keep the copy of an unsigned copy or anything. They just took them back with them to head office, and it never came up again. They never asked me again.
That's a good political maneuver, mate. That's called the can kick. Kick the can, hope it never returns.
Yeah, that seems like there wasn't any power imbalance there at all. Here, sign this bit of paper that you're never going to get to see again. We're just going to keep it ourselves.
Yeah, we'll keep it for our legal records.
In what contract do you ever not get a copy?
Yeah. That is a bit strange.
I can go to Woolies and get a receipt. I'm like, come on.
And we all know Woolies is the gold standard of
That's
transparency. Right. Surely that's pretty good legally. No NDA, all good. So let's get down to business then. We're talking political funding. What can you tell us about what you saw with the inner workings of the machine that's going on, particularly related to the Labor Party, how this machine gets its money, and if there is still this pay for play for access, this pay for access to our politicians going on, despite Albanese's song and dance all about we're getting money out of politics.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one event does come to mind. We did organise a fundraiser in Canberra. It was going to be with Pat Conroy, and it was going to be at a Chinese restaurant called Chairman Yip's. At the last minute...
Succulent Chinese meal, I hope would have been enjoyed there.
Yeah. At the last minute, the minister was not available, so we had to just reorganise it all at the last second, and we moved it to Sydney for a few weeks later. But we failed to get into contact with one of the defence contractors who had brought a ticket, and the tickets were $3,000 a head. So they rocked up with their $3,000 ticket that they had purchased, knocking on the door, there's no one there. So we're in a mad scramble to figure out, well, what are we going to do about this? This person's paid $3,000. In lieu of having a dinner with the minister, we organised a meeting with the minister in Parliament House, which actually does break the code of conduct. However, because I work for a backbencher, the ministerial code of conduct did not apply to her or her staff. It only applies to the ministers and their staff.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in here for a second because I need to break this down for the punters and myself as well.
For yourself and me.
What's the difference between a backbencher and a minister?
Yeah, a minister's like the top dogs. They're holding a portfolio, and a backbenchers, they're just representing their electorate, right?
They hold a higher role within our government than the average MP or senator. So
there's a ministerial code of conduct that says that ministers can't meet in certain places and can't accept. What's exactly the rule that the ministerial code of conduct outlines?
Well,
for that?
Specifically in regards to what happened in this case, you can't fundraise on Parliament grounds, and you cannot take money for a meeting as a minister. You
okay. Yeah. So another person would say you can't take bribes you can't have cash for access. Quick question, what happens if a minister breaks this ministerial code of conduct?
That's a good question. I believe it gets referred on to the Independent Parliamentary Standards Commission, or if it's a serious violation, it might go straight to the Standards Committee, which is a committee of parliamentarians who get to decide whether or not the action broke the code.
And if it breaks the code, if all those boffins get together and say, oh, there was cash given and access received.
Well, the penalties are quite light. I believe that the maximum financial penalty is 5% of their salary, which I think the average salary is about $260,000.
It's what, like 12 grand?
So it's a couple grand.
Oh dear. And that's all. That's it. Just a bit of a financial penalty to the minister.
Well, that is my understanding of. That's the biggest financial penalty. There might be. I'm not a legal expert, so I'm not sure about what other penalties might be available. But if they were to be found to have broken the code of conduct, that would be that could be grounds for the Prime Minister to do a reshuffle, but that's a power of the Prime Minister, and it would have to be pretty egregious.
But it sounds like it's like internal. It's like it's up to the Prime Minister to then police it himself if his ministers took cash for access, and then we have to rely on this internal review process to maybe come back with, hey, you shouldn't have done that. That's what it sounds like.
And even the Standards Committee, it's their peers. It's the other parliamentarians who get to decide. So it's...
So you go in front of a group of friends and they say, what'd you do? Oh, I did a bit of this. Yeah, you'll be right, mate.
Yeah, you got $3,000 for us. Well done.
To be fair, I think they've got a bit of a cross-section, so I think there's a couple independents and a couple opposition members on the committee, but yeah, it's they're policing themselves.
I think we've got that now. Politicians policing themselves, holding themselves to a loose standard that, once again, only the top dogs are beholden to, but the lower dogs, the mid-tier dogs, the MPs...
The backbenchers.
The backbenchers is the technical term. They can take meetings for cash for access, is that right?
Not on Parliament grounds. That is a blanket rule, and you're not technically meant to do it inside the electorate office. Like inside their electorates, each member has an electorate office. Technically speaking, those electorate offices are meant to be for the benefit of the constituency, not for the private parliamentarian's own benefit. But in practice, whenever we needed to do something like that, we would just go to the cafe up the street.
What? So rather than making this rule that says, hey, you represent the people, don't take funding donations and then receive meetings. Don't do it. Instead, they say, how about we don't do it in Parliament, and probs not in our electorate office.
You know what it is? Don't shit where you eat. That's literally the rule, and it's.
I think it's written.
A big rule. Don't do it.
Now, Punter James,
we want you to eat though.
We know you're hungry.
We really need you to eat.
So let's go back to this example being given. Now we're kind of getting this what can and cannot is not allowed, because we're loophole hunting here. We're discovering these little loopholes that when politicians say we're getting money out of politics and we're serving the punters and not our corporate donors, we're coming across direct evidence that this is how they don't do it. This is the nitty-gritty detail. Pat Conroy, does that ring a bell, Punter James?
Yeah, the Shortland electorate. That's local to us,
You're not
right?
in my electorate.
No,
You're just over the border.
Yep.
He's my guy.
There you go.
So this is personal for me.
Maybe you can get a cut of the 3K. Did he ever see that? I don't know. So then let's break down this.
Pat Conroy, my member, was on my vote card. Won't tell you how I voted, but he was on my vote card. He's the Minister for Defence. Is he? Is that what you're saying? Defence.
So he handles all of the contracts. Like, for example, we had a $300 million contract in our electorate handed to Skilkorski, which is a subsidiary of Lockheed Martin, the American arms company. So he is responsible for overseeing that type of thing. Anything that is related to defence industry. So the manufacturing of the Bushmasters, private maintenance contracts, that type of thing. So really, that's where all of the money is. Defence Minister is more responsible for overseeing the military itself, whereas defence industry, that's where the private companies can make big money.
Yeah, this is what I want punters to really understand is like this bloke, Pat Conroy, he is a maker or breaker of profits and contracts for corporations related to the defense industry. He makes or breaks them. And then you're telling me that there are meetings going on. Now I have this better understanding of this meeting that you're describing. Recap essentially what happened there, and then now we know the loopholes. Let's point out the loopholes.
So the whole fundraiser was going to be a dinner. It was $3,000 a head. We had people from Lockheed Martin, Alacaf, all of the big defence industry groups you can think of. We ended up having to postpone and move the date of the event and the location to Sydney, but we failed to get into contact with one of the people who brought a ticket. So they rocked up on the day, on a Monday. Restaurant was closed. They'd paid $3,000, and they were calling me and my colleague to see like what's going on to make sure he was happy, and wasn't going to kick up a stink about losing $3,000. We organised for him to have a 15-minute meeting face to face with the minister in his parliamentary office during a sitting week.
Oh, and so that definitely would have broken the code of conduct.
100%.
But the loophole they used was that you guys organised the meeting and not him.
Yeah, so as the backbencher, we organised the meeting for the defence company person and for the defence minister, defence industry minister. So as a
and was he just like, walking past at the time and you were like, oh, funny that.
Could you walk
Sir,
past this office at
please-
10 a.m.?
Please come on in.
Fancy seeing you. Have we met before?
Fiona, have you met Pat Conroy before?
Yeah. To be honest, having a 15-minute face-to-face meeting is so much more valuable than being at a dinner. Because at the dinner, you're competing with 10 other people who are wanting to get FaceTime with the minister, where if you can get 15 minutes to sit in front of the minister to plead your case for whatever it is you're trying to get, that's so much more valuable than being at the same dinner.
This is how the Labor Party raises its money, by having these fundraisers. And it just goes to show that when you can look up on donationwatch.com, you can see all the donations from certain industries that they've donated. That's probably only half the money. Half of it slips through these other loopholes that we're looking for at the moment. But they always say, a donation doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean we get any special anything in return. There's no, because I guess corruption would be, we take money, you get something. So the corporation's always like, no. Hey, we don't want anything in return. We just like what you're doing. But then when it comes down to it, some dingus doesn't check his email, right? Spends $3,000 on a ticket. Clearly, This is, it's not, I wouldn't say it's proof, because who said it happened? Allegedly. It shows that if you're giving money, the politician knows what you're giving the money for. The bloke knows what you're giving money for, and he leaves satisfied with a bit of a meeting.
I will just sort of say most of those fundraisers that are done with a backbencher and a minister, generally they are cut 50-50, so the backbencher will get half and the minister will get half. However, in this case, Gilmore was such a target seat, the minister was happy to just let us he basically gave us his time and we got to keep 100% of the fundraising. So all of that money went to Fiona's campaign.
Okay, so there's the Labor Party and then there's money raised within each campaign within the Labor Party.
Yeah, so each electorate has its own bank account that is controlled by head office, and also nominally it's also technically controlled by the federal election committees, which each electorate has their own. It's like an internal party thing. But each electorate will have its own bank account that it would fundraise through. And then you would have head office who have their own pool of money, which, not to get too into the weeds, but most of that is not from corporations. It's mostly from the union movement will sort of fill up the party pockets. And then it's up to the individual electorates and their candidates and politicians to do their own fundraising to build up their own campaign funds. But in our electorate, we had about, I'm just looking at it now, we had a total of about $96,000 for the entire campaign. And I think about 46,000 was fundraised by us and the rest was dropped in by head office.
It's not much money.
No, this is, it's
I look
true.
at it and I go, in one electorate, what do you got there? 140 grand.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well,
Yeah.
you look at,
Is that all it takes to buy someone?
well, that's actually what's
That's
kind of
not much.
scary when you look at how much money Allegra Spender used in her campaign. I think the Prime Minister was on the record saying that she spent more in one election than he did in the previous 10. If you have
Lots of money in that seat.
if you have
right?
the support of a
Yeah.
couple of millionaires,
seat.
you could buy a seat. 200 grand could buy you a seat. You could buy a seat for 200 grand in regional New South Wales.
Which I guess goes to this whole, which is a fair critique of what we're talking about, because punters will think it's so obvious. It's like you give them money and they're yours. It's way more subtle than that. And this is kind of what it shows. And this is what the low numbers show. It's sustained relationships over time.
Yeah.
Obviously Albert doesn't have to spend that much money. He's the bloody most recognizable bloke ever. He puts his name on the paper. The whole Labor Party machine, his face is the head of it, right? Obviously that's the case. And so, as Clive Palmer proves, money doesn't buy you a seat if you're shit. What you're talking about now, how the Labor Party raises money, is that going to be impacted by these laws coming in, or will they find loopholes, do you think?
Once again, I'm not a legal expert, but I would think that what I've seen of what they're bringing in, it won't affect the big problem, which is, even if you restrict where these meetings can occur, you're still going to have people who will pay $3,000 a ticket to have a dinner with the Defence Minister so that they can talk about the contract they want to get. I just don't see any future or any regulation that can prevent that, unless you just ban corporate donations altogether. but then you'll just have people. You'll have executives who will personally donate the money, and they'll just find a loophole that way. I honestly don't see any future where you can get rid of the money. There has been some moves from the independents to basically campaign funds would be given to you by the government and it would regulate how much each candidate can spend. But
which they already have.
Only for incumbents. But they want to. There's been some moves by the independents to have not just donation caps, but campaign funding caps. So you can only spend like $100,000 or whatever the limit will be. But that is kind of unworkable because what if you have 20 candidates in one electorate who sign up just to get the government funding? I just don't see any future in our democratic system where you can completely eradicate the problem of dark money. It's invasive.
What's the juiciest thing you've seen out there? Give us some internal goss that we just wouldn't hear anywhere else.
I've got in my notes here something about Christopher Pyne.
That actually, yes, I'd forgotten about that. That actually is a bit of an interesting one. Generally, these fundraisers, almost always you will have a sponsor, so you don't have to use your campaign funds up front to get more campaign funds. You would have a...
Sorry. So hang on, a sponsor being a corporation sponsoring?
Corporate sponsor. Well, sometimes lobby groups too. So we were in talks with the Distillery Association, which is a lobby group for distilleries, like vodka and stuff. But that kind of fell through at the last second. So we were looking through our defence industry contact lists, and Tony, who's one of the executives over at Pyne and Partners, which is Christopher Pyne's lobby group and consultancy firm, offered to...
Ex-Defence Minister Christopher Pyne for the Liberal Party? That's who we're talking about.
Yeah, they sponsored the fundraiser, which was about maybe $5,000 because it was a very fancy restaurant and there was about 15 people there. They covered all of the meals, they covered all of the drinks, like straight up. And
whoa, hey, I'm thinking these fundraisers are like large rooms with lots of people. This is a large family dinner, Christmas dinner, room size
and
of people.
And it's a fairly intimate affair. Like, it's a VIP type thing. There's no staff. It's just the head honchos at the firms who have showed up. What's just crazy in my mind is Christopher Pyne, Liberal Party fixer, is funding keep in mind, Gilmore was the most marginal electorate in the country at the time, is sponsoring a Labor Party fundraiser with the Defence Industry Minister and the most marginal Labor Party candidate. That blew my mind.
Is that because if you're now Christopher Pyne, you are now a lobbyist. Your job is to get your clients in front of ministers, chat with ministers, to spruik whatever your customers, clients, whatever your clients are doing. Your job is to spruik it. From Christopher Pyne's perspective, he's like, oh yeah, I'll sponsor this dinner. And that obviously potentially gets him better access to the current government. Is that how it works?
100%. So at these type of things, we would usually have a VIP ticket, which would be slightly more expensive, and that would be like the seat that's right next to the member or the minister. But in this case...
I thought that was pretend. It's not.
That's real.
It's real.
But because we had a sponsor, they said, well, can we have those two seats, like the one next to the member and the one next to the minister? They gave it to a company called CivMec, which is a contractor, defence industry contractor. So, yeah, they sponsored the whole dinner.
Oh, because Christopher Pyne had those seats.
No, he didn't use it himself. He gave it to his clients from CivMec.
Oh, of course. Sorry. The clients he represents, he sponsors the dinner, gets a couple seats. He then goes, oi, you want to get in with this government right now? I got a couple of VIP seats next to the minister. Along you go.
Yeah, and here's the other thing. Surely if Christopher Pyne gives these two left and right hand seats out to this company, what's the financial relationship between the company who gets those seats and Christopher Pyne? Because they're not bound by anything, right? So can they pay Christopher Pyne for those seats even more?
Gosh, I honestly don't know, but I would think that it would be more of a sort of marketing tool for him from Christopher Pyne's perspective. He's like, he's got these clients he wants to sort of wow a little bit, and he's able to get them at a dinner. Like, they are the true VIPs in this because they aren't They wouldn't have paid for their ticket. They would have just been invited by Christopher Pyne to come to the meal with the minister, and then they get to sit right next to him and talk about whatever they want, which would most likely be some type of contract.
And this is the sinister thing with lobbying in general. These lobbyists exist because these ministers make the rules that hand out billions of dollars worth of contracts, and these corporate bludgers are trying to get those contracts. And rather than an open, transparent bidding process that says government needs to spend this much, who's the best player, open and transparent, we have closed-door meetings facilitated by ex-government ministers turned lobbyists to then meet and greet, and then all we, the punter, see is government hands contract to so-and-so. Was that because of a beautiful, succulent Chinese lunch? Or was that because they were the best person for the contract?
It's because the guy sitting next to Pat Conroy had his hand on his leg the whole dinner. And he was...
Nice leg massage.
This is wild. To actually hear an example of something allegedly.
Allegedly that we're not saying happened, but if it did happen, this is how it happened. Thanks for the insider knowledge. It's great to have a punt on the inside. What leads you to front the punters with such juicy goss? What are you doing now? Like, what made you want to kind of leave this space, and what's your plan now?
Well, so keep in mind, I was the field organiser for Fiona's campaign, so I worked on that thing for about a year and a half. Now, after she was returned with a massively improved margin. I think it was like 6% or something. She went from the most marginal electorate in the country to a safe Labor seat.
Well played.
About
with a tyre pump. Well done, Punter D.
Thank you. A few weeks after she won, I got a letter from her chief of staff saying that because the campaign went so well, there is no real need for there to be a campaigner in the office anymore. So unfortunately, your role here
Worked
is
yourself
no
out of a
longer
job.
Well done.
I was a victim of my own success.
And that NDA still sitting on the desk unsigned.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly.
Well, this has been a fun journey into the foray of how party politics works, how you get shit done, how you meet the right people, and how to loophole jump if you're a corporation. Punter D, thanks so much for coming on and sharing the insider info.
Thanks for your bravery.
No worries. Thanks for having me, guys.
Punter James, emails thick and fast at wepunter@punterspolitics.com for political manoeuvres this week. Politician lines it up and, well, hang on. There's a question from left field and, oh my God, I don't believe it. What a manoeuvre. That has got to be political play of the day. Obviously, we know what it is this week. It did not go unmissed.
He is a staple.
He is an icon, politician Bob Catter. Let's take a look at some novel political manoeuvres.
You've got Lebanese heritage yourself.
Oh, mate, don't say that, because that irritates me, and I punch blokes in the mouth for saying that. Don't you dare say that. My family have been in this country for 140 years, right? So if you say anything like that, I have, on many occasions, punch blokes in the mouth, right? So I'm restraining myself today. Don't say that. Don't say that, because you're a racist. You're a racist. You cannot say what you just said without being identified as a racist. So, gentlemen, ladies, this man is a racist.
Okay, first off, there's no other way to say it, but it's I guess it's just a disincentive. A stiff don't argue, I will punch you in the face.
Yeah, with the shaking fist right in this journalist's face.
I mean, some would call it a threat to physical violence, but since it's politics, that's a political maneuver.
Yeah, that's
if
right.
You can discourage your person from talking to you by waving a fist in their face.
On many occasions, I have punched blokes in the mouth.
Citing the example. But the thing I love the most that went a bit unmissed as we're really drilling into these political maneuvers.
Yeah.
At the end there, he's at the back. He just hides, goes into a little mic.
Turns to a 45-degree angle, so he's not actually facing the guy.
Faces away. And what does he say? I'm not listening.
I'm not listening.
I'm not listening.
I
believe he used the very popular tactic in grade 4.
Yeah,
Go to the corner. I'm not playing with you anymore.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not listening. But you're clearly listening, but you're letting them know you're not listening.
And here's one of the other things we see a lot of the time from a lot of Australian politicians. You're un-Australian.
I like that.
Straight away you call someone un-Australian. Yeah. They look un-Australian. And you look very Australian.
And if you're Bob Catter with that voice and that hat, him saying you're un-Australian does certainly look un-Australian.
I believe him.
You know what? I got to give points to Bobcatter on that one. I'll give him 2.
The punts, yeah, we're bringing the fun. The bright lights, big vibes, only begun.
Punter James. It's time to pep up the punts. I've got some good news to end the episode on because politics doesn't have to be all depressing.
Good.
Good. You want to be pepped? You ready to be pepped?
Mm-hmm. I'm on the edge of my seat.
Okay, speaking of whistleblowers this episode, could have been a bit depressing when we gave the impression that if you're a whistleblower in Australia, you're screwed.
Yeah, you are definitely screwed.
Not if your name is David Boyle.
What's happened with David Boyle? I've never heard of him before.
He is the whistleblower that blew the whistle on the ATO being overly aggressive in debt collection strategies for regular punts.
Yeah, okay.
He went through the channels, he blew the whistle, he went to like multiple lawyers, he thought he was protected under whistleblower protections, but guess what?
He wasn't?
He wasn't.
Okay, so they've come down hard on him as well.
He was facing 66 offences.
Ooh.
I mean, numbers vary. I went with the low ones.
Yep.
And facing 46 years in prison. I saw one article say 150.
Far out.
So 46 years in prison for essentially saying, hey, the government agency might not be acting in the best interest of we Australians, but this is pep up the punt, so you'd think it'd be depressing. Nuh-uh. He is not going to go to jail.
Oh, this is fantastic news.
Once again, yes, whistleblower laws, they're screwed, but if your name is David Boyle, you are stoked because you're not going to jail, and we have to give credit where credit's due to the judges and whoever was involved in that decision.
Okay.
Not sending a public interest whistleblower to jail is always a good day in Australia.
Right, so as an everyday punt, how does this benefit or impact me? Is it just that more whistleblowers are going to feel like they can come out and...
Whoa. I said pep up the punts, not make them hysterical.
All right,
okay. There's maybe, I guess, in the court case, a little bit of precedence going, okay, this is a good ruling in favour of more transparency, but the laws are still draconian. He still wasn't protected under the Whistleblower Protections Act.
Okay.
He just, they, I guess, didn't throw the book at him as hard. So...
Right.
Long ways to go, but I just gave you enough to pep your step.
I still feel good.
Well, that's the show, punters. Videos drop on Instagram and YouTube all week, so if you miss us, if you miss me, you can head over there. James won't bloody be there. We're also on Facebook for the boomers and X for the Elon lovers. And to those punters who help us bypass the gods of the algorithm, the corporate-driven algorithm each week by sharing our stuff, honestly, punters, you sharing it is the only reason regular punters see anything, so a huge thanks. And obviously, all that sharing has resulted in politicians' children sending my reels to the politicians themselves. So massive thanks to you.
Any messages, send them through to oipunter@punterspolitics.com. We'll see you next week. Power to the punters.
Power to the punts.